All right, before we fire this baby up, let's set the scene. Back in the day, a scrambler was a modded street bike, a kitted piece, ready to take on the competition at the local hare scrambles. Today, that race-ready, off-road look is all the rage, and BMW Motorrad has dipped their toe into the mud with their modded R9 platform. At the heart of this puppy is a classic 1,170cc air oil-cooled opposed twin that BMW last used during their R1200 GS production. The bulletproof Boxer is mated to a 6-speed transmission and a Trick Akrapovic designed high-mount dual-can exhaust. Running gear includes a conventional 43mm fork-up front, complete with retro rubber boots, while ABS-assisted stopping power comes courtesy of a 4-piston Brembo brake system. Stand back a few feet and you can see that BMW really has done their homework when it comes to capturing that look of the early 1970s Scrambler. But how does that translate into today's world of Gore-Tex and GPS? Well, let's ask this week's guest rider, Mark Russell.
Last season we sampled the Ducati Scrambler, the Moto Guzzi V7, and the Triumph Thruxton. What was missing was the R NineT, and so we waited a year and we got the R NineT, but we got the Scrambler version, and just thought it would be perfect to get you to throw a leg over it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I liked those 3 bikes you mentioned. I got to ride them all last year. And they're full of attitude. That's mostly what they have. Some are better motorcycles than others. This bike is filled with attitude.
Yeah.
And style and all that sort of stuff. It's a decent motorcycle. It's very unlike a BMW, I will say.
Yeah. So let's talk about the horizontally opposed classic BMW Boxer engine. But this one's a little different. We're so used to them making them smoother and smoother and smoother. This one, actually, they've put a little bit of roughness back into it.
Yeah, I don't know if they did that on purpose. I think it's likely just as basic as this motor can be, so that's probably what BMWs were like 50 years ago.
Yeah, well, the old R9, right?
Yeah.
But plenty of power, lots, especially for this motorcycle.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I think what is nice to see here is they didn't cheap out on the braking department. It's not like it's a single disc or anything like that. There's some really great brakes there.
Yeah, and they're monstrously huge at the front here. I didn't ever use the back brake. That's kind of the way I roll. There's one back there, I assume. But those are huge. I don't think you could ever get them hot or anything. Lots of stopping power. Yeah, I was happy with that.
Mark, you know, this motorcycle surprised me with a couple of things. One, I expected to see a chain. Just because it's kind of old school, elemental motorcycle. Instead, we've got shaft. And there's nothing wrong with that, don't get me wrong. I was just surprised to see a shaft back there. And the other thing were these rims. They're really interesting.
Yeah.
They're spoked, but I don't think they're spoked, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, the way they've handled it is really interesting. So you got the spokes, because that's part of the cool look thing.
Yeah.
A retro thing, but the spokes don't go through the wheel where the air is kept inside the middle. They come out the edge of the rim here, so that's a tubeless tire that you would never have trouble with spokes poking into a tube or causing a leak in the rim.
Yeah, really clever.
Yeah, an interesting solution.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it before.
Riding position. I like the big wide bars. I like the sort of wind in your face kind of feel. You're hanging out there.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I could see this bike really accepting all kinds of modifications in that department, which would be kind of fun because it's a sporty bike. You're kind of inspired to go fast, go through corners. If you didn't need it for off-road or dirt road kind of work, you could have a much narrower bar and actually have it lower too, and it would still be fun.
One of the things that really impresses me is just the cosmetic approach to everything. It's pretty special. I can't remember the last time we saw a brown saddle next to a matte finish and then blacked out everything else. What did you think of just the cosmetic fit and finish?
Thought it looked awesome, and actually I do see lots of brown saddles and matte finish because all the kids in Toronto with their cafe racers, that's the way they build them. And it's sort of a current thing. It looks really cool. That's part of the attitude of the bike. A tack, I think, actually would be nice, even if it was, actually I would have a sweeping tack and a digital speedo in that one pod. The one pod is a nice sort of nod to retro, minimal. But I would have liked a rev counter.
So who are you going to recommend this to?
It's going to be an experienced rider. I don't think this is going to be anybody's first motorcycle. And it could be the kind of rider who's had a cafe racer or thinks they want to build one, but you know that there's a lot of effort in that. And when you're done, you have a 50-year-old motorcycle that doesn't work properly.
Right.
So this could provide the same kind of fun, but it's going to work the way a motorcycle is supposed to work. It's going to have a warranty. It's going to be a BMW.
Yeah.
But still have the fun that you'd get from a elemental, sporty motorcycle.
Yeah. And it's definitely nailing the look.
Yeah.
Did you see Steve McQueen? He just went that way.
I can't imagine riding this across a desert at 100 miles an hour, because I think you'd have to be pretty fit.
Steve McQueen would ride this on any Sunday.
Well, that's because he was tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice job.
Thank you.